Hi, this is Vivian Watts. Look at these cute strawberry boxes from Diamond Press. I'm here to show you how to make them. Are you ready? Let's go for it. Now, Diamond Press always have instructions with all of their projects. So today we're going to try to make two different kinds of strawberry boxes. So now let's get our supplies ready. You're going to need 2 pieces using this die to make the body of the strawberries. And then you're going to need this cap on top of the strawberry. You only need 1 for each strawberry. For leaves, you will be using this die. You can cut 1 or 2 pieces. Now with flowers, I like to have as many flowers as possible, so I'm going to cut 3 flowers for each strawberry. You'll be needing 1 label to put your sentiment, and as an option, you can use this die to make a chocolate dip with your strawberry, and you'll be needing 2 pieces. Alright, so now we're going to try making 2 versions of the strawberry boxes. One is red and mature and sweet with a chocolate dip. The other one is not as ripe, it was green, and you can use just regular white cardstock for this one because we're going to color this ourselves. And just like the other one, you're going to cut 2 pieces using the strawberry dies. So now let's start with this one. Let's start coloring. To color this green strawberry, I'm going to use actually 2 colors. For the base of the strawberry, I will be using a green color, a lighter green color. And I'm going to just ink blend it to the base of the strawberries. I'm putting these 2 pre-cut pieces together so this way I can make sure that the colors are more even and they will coordinate better together. Alright, so here we are just ink blending the base of this or the tip of the strawberry. And the next step, we're going to ink blend a red color. It's a shade of red that will coordinate nicely with this green color. So it's kind of an orangey red. It's not too dark, just a red color. So I'm ink blending from the top, and then gradually I will be mixing the color into the red color into the green area. Alright, so when you're doing this, take your time, enjoy the process, and there is no right or wrong way because we're going to do more about the strawberries, so don't worry about being perfect when you are ink blending. Alright, the next step to make the strawberry is to, so this is what we're trying to achieve. We're going to use the stamp that's included in this kit and put the seeds on top of the strawberries. Alright, so I'm going to start with 1 piece at a time using my stamping tool. Since we have 2 colors on our strawberry, I'm going to also use 2 different colors to stamp the seeds on top of the body of our strawberry. And you guessed it, I'm going to be using red and green. And this red color is just a darker shade of red, similar to the body of our strawberry. And then for the base or for the tip of the strawberry, I will be using a darker shade of green as well. Alright, now let's stamp. Look at this. Doesn't that look nice? Alright, since I'm using a stamping tool, I'm being lazy. I'm just going to put the second piece on top of this, and then I will ink my stamp again and just stamp right on top of this. I'm able to do it this way because this is a big piece of stamp that doesn't require a whole lot of precision. Because we're just putting seeds on top of the strawberries. So I'm not too worried about it being off a little bit. All right, here we go. Doesn't that look nice? Now you have 2 pieces for our first strawberry, the green strawberry. So now let's start working on the red strawberry. Because we're using a piece of red cardstock, we don't need to do any colorings. We're just going to go ahead and stamp the seeds on top of this. Again, I'm using a darker shade of red to make the seeds. This way the seeds will stand out a little bit. It is a similar tone of red, but just maybe a little darker in shades. Here we go. Look at that. Doesn't that look like a strawberry already? All right, so I'm being lazy again. I'm putting the second piece on top of the first piece and just re-inking the stem and stamp the seeds again. Okay, now we have 2 pieces and for the body of our strawberry. So take a look at the 2 different shades of strawberries. Now let's go ahead and stamp the top and the leaf of our strawberry. Again, I'm using my stamping tool, and I will be using the same color ink for both pieces. The stamps are included in our kit, and again, you don't have to be super precise, but you do want to make sure that you fit them on top of your die cut pieces nicely. They're fairly easy to see and to stamp. And that's another thing I like about this kit is that it's pretty easy for anybody, so anybody can do it. All right, there we go. The color I'm using is also a darker shade of green, so it will stand out. I think it would be pretty too if you use a lighter color, but you may need to emboss it so it will stand out. You can see the contrast. All right, I'm using the same method, just putting the second piece on top, and then I'm going to ink up my stamp and stamp again. There we go. Now we have the leaves and the tops for our 2 strawberries. Now for the top, here's an option that if you want to shape it, it's already pre-scored. All you need to do is to fold your top pieces along the score line. It will give you a better shape once you start assembling. It's fairly easy to do because everything is pre-scored. When you die cut the pieces, it's already the score lines are already in. All right, now we're getting ready to do to stamp our chocolate dip, our flowers, and our sentiment onto the label. Now let's start with our flowers. I cut 3 pieces of flowers. You can cut 1, 2, or 3, it's up to you. So I have 2 white flowers and 1 yellow. So for my white flowers, I'm using a warm yellow tone to stamp the center on top of my flowers. Now for the yellow flowers, I decided to use red so the center will stand out. All right, now our flowers are done. The next thing to do is to stamp our chocolate dip. You're going to need 2 pieces. So here I am just showing you how to stamp 1 piece at this time. is fairly easy to do. That's one thing I like about this kit, is that it's really easy to match everything up. All right, now I'm going to move on to stamp my sentiment onto the label, and I picked this one. I'm using red ink, and my sentiment says, "You are the very best." There we go. That looks very cute. Okay, now we have all the pieces we need to assemble our first strawberry. And this one we are using the chocolate dip, the optional chocolate dip, to make our first red strawberry. Now let's get ready to assemble our strawberries. When you first die cut these pieces, you will notice that you have score lines already on your piece. So all you need to do is to shape your pieces along the score line. And this tab that we have is where we're going to put our adhesive on. So that one I'm going to use, I'm going to really crease it. So later it will be easier to apply glue. All right, so what we're going to do now is to assemble and connect these two pieces together. I'm giving my project a few seconds. Since I'm using liquid glue, it takes a few seconds to dry. All right, and now I'm folding down this tab, applying glue again so I can attach this on the other side. There we go. Again, giving my project a few seconds to dry. And you can start seeing the shape. This is what it's going to look like. All right, so this step is optional, but I think it's super cute to do, which is applying the chocolate dip. So again, you're going to kind of shape it along the score line. You don't have to really fold it down because later it's going to be a 3D project, but you do want to have some shape. I find it easier to attach this piece if I have my body laying flat like that. So what you need to do is you want to match the tip, the two sides, and most importantly, the score lines. There we go. All right, one side is done. Now we're going to move on to the other side. Same way, applying glue or any adhesive of your choice, we are attaching our chocolate dip onto our strawberry. We're matching the sides and also the score line. Okay. So double checking, everything looks pretty lined up. You're going to have a gap like that, don't worry about it, okay? And just showing you what it's going to look like with our finished project. Now we are going to get ready for our next step, which is doing some threading using the enclosed green twine. So I'm making sure all the holes are open and checking the shape. Everything looks good. Now this green twine is included in our kit. You can use a different color twine of your choice. You can use a thin piece of ribbon, but for now we're going to use what's included in the kit. To thread this is much like hand sewing. I'm just going to start with the first hole from the top down. And then for each of the next hole, I'm going from underneath the piece and going through the holes and onto the next one. I am taking my time. And I'm probably not the fastest worker when it comes to working on the project. But I do like slowing down a little bit. It's a good therapy for myself. So I'm just enjoying the process. Well, this color green twine is actually looking pretty cute with my red color paper. Okay, almost there. Okay, now we just need to cut off the end. Again, I'm giving myself a lot of room, maybe a bit too much, but I'd rather have more twine to work with than not enough. Now, if you want to put some goodies in the box, now is the time. Because once you close this box, you will not be able to open it again unless you cut off the thread or the twine. I'm using my right hand to help shape the box, and with my left hand, I'm just pulling the twine and closing the top tight. And it will very naturally form the shape, just like this. And here's a look at the finished project. Okay, so now the next step is to tie a knot. And this is when I found out, oh, my twine might be a little too long, but you know, it works. So once you tighten the knot, your strawberry box will start forming the shape naturally. To keep the knot in place, I need to tie another knot. And I decided to get some help using this tool just to make my life a little easier. If you're very good at making knots, you may not need this, but for me, it really helps. Here we go. Now we have the body of our strawberry with a chocolate dip. That's looking pretty good. Okay, another comparison. All right, the next one is you're going to pull both threads through the hole of your top. So now you have the top or the cap of your strawberry. It's really starting to take shape. The next one is adding our leaf. You can have one or two leaves. For this example, I'm only using one. And oops, I'm having trouble getting the thread through the little hole, so I have to cut it again to have a sharper edge in order to go through. There we go, it works. All right, once this, the leaf assembled, I'm going to tie another knot to keep it in place. All right. Now it's time to add our label. Again, I'm only using one twine. Go through that hole. You want to go from the bottom of the label up so your sentiment can show. All right, tie another knot to keep that in place. And then make a bow. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost done. Now I'm adjusting the length of my twine. I'm just trimming it off. Now remember, we have the flowers. So it's up to you where you want to attach the flowers. So I'm attaching the flowers on the leaves. And since I have 3 flowers, I'm attaching all 3 of them. You get to pick what kind of flowers, how many of them, and where you want to put them. It's really up to you. All right, first flower. And how about a nice yellow flower next to this one? Okay. Now the final touch. Here we go. We have our first red strawberry with the chocolate dip down. Comparing with our examples, looking pretty good. All right, now you're going to use the same method with this green strawberry. But remember, because we have 2-tone colors, you don't want to use that chocolate dip to color the green piece, the green color on the bottom. You'll be using the same methods, thread them, and then put your top and the leaves to make a second strawberry. So here's a look at our finished projects. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and now it's your turn.